Salute everybody. Welcome to Miss Parker, Miss Parker. I hope everybody has had a great Thursday. Let me get my roll call together. And I dropped some links already. If you're a content creator, you come in and your links that I dropped, just let me know and I'll get that drop for you. Salute Melanated. Thank you for coming through. Hey, Pretty Problem Nisha sis. Thank you for coming through. Hey, Smoke to the Bone. Thank you for coming through. Hey, Roasted Toast. Thank you for coming through. Hey, Blended Healing. Hey, Callie. Thank you for coming through. Again, if you're a content creator and you see a mod in the chat, such as the Callie's Kitchen, let them know. They always love to drop links, so please let them know. I hope everybody had, a great 4th of July. I know a lot of people didn't celebrate. I know some did or whatever, but I'm still glad that everybody's safe. And at least I hope everybody's safe and had a great 4th of July weekend or a great Tuesday as well. And the kids enjoyed themselves. But today I wanted to talk about a little bit about Targeted by the System, Amaya story. And also I wanted to do a little bit of celebrating because I am almost monetized. If you can tell that I do got my $sign down there. So please feel free to purchase a super sticker, super chat, or you can hit that cash app. But I'm definitely in celebration. Hey, Intrinsic Love. Intrinsic Love is another content creator. She has great content and she also is very crafty. You guys need to go check out her Instagram page and purchase some stuff from her. She's very crafty. Hey, Jessie Mills. Hey, sis. You guys make sure you go follow my sis, Jessie Mill, as well on YouTube. But thanks everybody for pulling up again. I hope everybody had a great Tuesday. I'm not going to really just keep saying 4th of July, but I hope everybody had a great Tuesday and also a great Thursday and a great week all together. And again, feel free to purchase a super sticker, super chat, or hitting that cash app. I'm super excited about having that $sign down there. Okay, Callie, thank you for coming through. Hey, Skunky. Skunky is also a content creator who's just started a podcast. They're very hilarious over there. So please go check out Skunky Farms LLC, please. And if I can get one of the mods, Blended Healing, if you're still in here, do you mind dropping Roasted Toast, Intrinsic Love, Jessie Mill, and Skunky Farms if you have the time. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Blended Healing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, I hope everybody that just came in had a blessed week. Well, I was interested because I went to Kentucky, got my hair done, and my hairdresser knows. Thank you, Tierra. Thank you, guys. Thank you. My girlfriend knows how I like to watch Netflix and things like that. So she turned me on to this documentary called Take Care of Myra. Take Care of Maya. So today, as we sit here, I don't want you guys to feel as Tierra, feel as Blended Healing. I don't want to feel myself as Miss Parker, Miss Parker. I want us to be a Betta Kolaski, John Stewart, a Tara Brown, a George, and a Ashley Finnegan, a Zachary Wiersber, and a Jack and Cal and Maya Kolaski. These people have been affected because they was targeted by a system that is supposed to protect the children if for any kind of abuse or whatever. Salute Looney Tunes, thank you for coming. Hey Jazzy, thank you for coming. I appreciate you guys. And again, you guys, please purchase a super sticker, super chat, or hit that membership link. Become a member, please. Salute Wolf, I'm just getting monetized, so we got $100 for threshold to get through, and this just supports the channel and keeps me growing. So if you don't mind helping me with that, that'll be great. But again, we're always targeted by the system. Judicially, we're targeted due to the color of our skin. Let's just be honest. When you look at the population of give me a second, guys. Give me a We're always targeted by the judicial system, whatever. Just our melanated people are targeted. But this time it was a group of individuals targeted it into this story. And story touched me. I was getting my hair done, but I was crying all at the same time. Thanks, everybody. Salute, Krishan. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys. And again, it's called Take Care of Maya. So today we're not our regular selves. Today we're going to be her mother, Betta. We're going to be John Stewart, who was affected, Tara Brown, George, Ashley, Zachary, Maya Kowalski, her father, Jack Kowalski, and Cal. Let me play a little bit of this so you can kind of know where this story originated from. And I want to make sure you guys hear it. And let me know if you guys can hear this. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that, sis. Let me start this for you guys. Hold on, guys. Let me get through these commercials. But I want everybody that has children and families to look into this.
Film about how child welfare agencies in the U.S. have ruined hundreds of families is called Take Care of Maya. The loss of a life due to a misdiagnosis was a devastating ordeal for the Kowalski family. When their daughter, Maya, was rushed to the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, the parents, Beta and Jack, were exposed to severe harassment and emotional harm. Maya began experiencing excruciating pain in her limbs, migraines, and burning sensations when she was 10 years old. Eventually, her legs began to curl inward. She was diagnosed with the rare condition known as CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, but the doctors at Johns Hopkins refused to believe the parents and doubted that they were lying. Take Care of Maya documents the extreme lengths that the parents had to go to bring their child back home.
Let me stop right there for a second. So, Take Care of Maya has become one of the most talked about documentations of the year. Directed by Henry Roosevelt, the Netflix documentary follows the story of Maya Kowalski, who, after being admitted to the hospital with crippling stomach pain in 2016, was separated from her parents and left trapped within healthcare system, which tore her family apart. Salute, Alizi. Thank you for coming through. So not only did this story affect Maya, it gets sadder. As seen in the documentary, Maya, aged 10 at the time, was rushed to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in Florida in 2016 with a crippling stomach ache. Prior to the incident, Maya was diagnosed with CRPS, which is known as Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, by a specialist, Dr. Anthony Kirkpatrick, who suggested the strong anesthetic ketamine as the best way to alleviate her pain. Because at this time, Maya's feet is turning in and she's unable to walk or anything. They said that the CRPS is so, the pain is so excruciating. When a feather drops on their legs, it's as if they're getting stabbed by a knife. So Dr. Anthony Kirkpatrick, who suggested the strong anesthetic ketamine as the best way to elevate her pain, she was even put into a ketamine coma, an experimental treatment in Mexico, which temporarily reduced Maya's CRPS symptoms. So once the family found out that Dr. Kilpatrick said that Maya had this disease, they traveled all over. They went to Mexico. The ketamine helped a little bit, just a little bit. But after a while, the pain started coming back. So they're spending all their money traveling all over the world trying to figure out what was best for this baby. So we have the family. So Jack says they go to the hospital. So it's Hurricane Matthew in Florida. So once they get to the hospital, because she's having pains, Betta was at work. Betta Kowalski is Maya's mother. She was at work. And Jack calls her like, she's having pain. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. I gotta get her to the emergency room. Remember, this is Hurricane Matthew. They're in the middle of a hurricane, so he's rushing her to the hospital. So Betta's telling Jack how to handle the situation and what to tell the doctors. Let them know that we give her the ketamine and things like that. They get Maya to the doctor. Jack says upon him in Betta's in the hospital, in the emergency room, they're telling the other doctors at the, let me get this hospital right because I don't want to mess it up, at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in Florida. So as they get Maya there, they're telling the doctor, like, okay, Dr. Kilpatrick, we took her here. They did a ketamine coma. They give her doses of ketamine. So he says he remembers a woman walking in. He says she didn't speak to him, nothing. Walked in the room, walked out. Upon walking out of the room, they come back in the room and tell Mr. and Mrs. Kalowski they have to leave the hospital, that Maya's in state's custody. They're confused. Betta is going bananas. The mother, we're mothers. Of course, somebody taking our baby away from us or telling us, you have to leave. No, nothing. We don't get any answers for anything. They're just telling us to leave. As a parent, you're not going to be calm. You're not going to say, okay, when can I come back? You're asking questions. What's the problem? So due to them leaving the hospital, upon them leaving the hospital, it gets sadder because the mother is documenting, because she's a nurse. She's documenting. This is what saved the family, in a sense. She wrote down everything from timestamps, what they said, precisely what they said, what time she made phone calls to the hospital, what time her husband made phone calls to the hospital. This is in 2016, right? Thank you, Arissa. Thank you, Tiara. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tiara, for becoming a member. And salute to you, Arissa, for the super chat. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. So the mother is going crazy. Not only did they have to leave the hospital, the judge says they can't even have contact with their child. And when they said contact, they said absolutely none. So the little girl is in a hospital, you guys, confined in a hospital in Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital for 3 months. Not in a home, a hospital. Because now they've said that not the father, but the mother, Betta, has medically abused this child, which comes to Munchausen by proxy. In 1977, the term Munchausen syndrome by proxy to describe children whose mothers produce histories of illness to their children and who support such histories by fabricated physical signs and symptoms, or even by altered laboratory tests. So what they were saying, hey, Shell, what they were saying was that the mother put that in that little girl's head. She's not, Johns Hopkins disregarded everything Dr. Kilpatrick said. And they said she doesn't have that. She just suffered from anxiety. And Betta, you've done this to this child. You put this in your child's head. And she's faking her symptoms. Betta's in disbelief. She even gets in touch with Dr. Kilpatrick. Dr. Kilpatrick calls Dr. Sally Smith in the hospital, and he writes a note. And he says to Dr. Sally Smith himself, he says, she suffers from CRPS. Dr. Sally Smith says, no, she's not. He said, I'm telling you, this young lady is suffering from this. So months down the line now, we're going into month 2. They allow Jack Kalowski to go see his child. Not only do they allow the father to go see the child, but he can't ask the little girl how she's doing, how she's feeling, anything. The only thing he was able to do was go see this child. Do you know how hard it is for your child to be gone already 60 days and they give you permission, the father, and as a mother, you've held this baby, you've carried this baby for 9 months, and then you carry it for the next 10 years of a life, only for the judge and the system to tell you that you can't see this child. Thank you for becoming a member, Nina. Thank you, sis. You can't see your child. So the mother's anxious when Jack gets to get the visitations, only for Jack, the father, to be told that you can't talk to your child. You can only come in the hospital and see her. He said it was the most excruciating thing he's ever dealt with. The little brother was then allowed, Cal was then allowed to go and see her and play games with her. Betta writes a letter to the judge. It said, how did Betta, the mother, ended up taking her own life? She couldn't stand it. She was in pain. They even sent the mother to get evaluated as she was going crazy. And this is real life story, y'all. The social workers ended up getting the court to order the mother to go be evaluated at a psych ward, only for the mother to be told that she has no problems. Poor Maya is still in the hospital, y'all, having bruises because the CRPS makes bruises pop up on your arms. Thank you, Looney Melodies, for becoming a member. Thank you. It should be a $sign in the chat in the right-hand corner, Arissa. But Maya, this disease that they have makes them break out into bruises, marks. Even on a pillow just dropping on their leg causes a bruise. But they said that Betta was the one who was causing these injuries to this little girl. They said that she was, thank you, Shell, for becoming a member, thank you. But they said that the mother, Betta, was making these bruises and making this stuff up. So how did this little girl stay in the hospital for 90 days away from her family and still have these same symptoms? So the mother and the father, Jack and Betta, ended up going to court. Nothing got done. They asked, she had her own attorney at this point. They gave the little girl an attorney. They said some holidays had passed. They said Betta just wants to know because she hugged her daughter. The judge said, no, absolutely not. She was so hurt, you guys. You got to go see this documentary. She was so hurt. Betta Kowalski died by suicide 87 days after Maya was taken by the state. She said, I'm sorry, she said, I'm sorry. This is what her suicide note read. But I can no longer take the pain of being away from Maya and being treated like a criminal. I cannot watch my daughter suffer in pain and keep getting worse while my hands are tied by the state of Florida and the judge. So Jack and Kyle, up on not seeing her. Here's Christmas, you guys. It's Christmas. That's family time, Christmas with your babies. I'm being treated like a criminal. I'm the mother of this child. Y'all accuse me of medically abusing my baby because the doctor even said I prescribed her the ketamine doses. But they didn't try the doctor as a bad person. They tried the mother. They said she was so aggressive. But again, we're mothers. We're more aggressive than men when it comes to our kids. Y'all know if our kids go outside and the neighbor say something to our kids, like the mother in Florida, they got unalived by the neighbor. Of course, I'm going to go check to see why my kids are coming in here crying saying that somebody said something to my children. I'm going to be upset and I'm going to be more hostile than my husband or my man. That's what we do. Men are more calmer when it comes to the children. Not saying men don't get mad, but they do have a whole different disposition than we do as mothers. You go to the hospital with your baby, and the next thing you know, you can't see your baby because you brought her in here for some pain, and they say, hey, Miss Parker, you made your child say this, and you get treated like the criminal. So Jack and Kyle went to a Christmas party. She better, she's wrapping up gifts. She's just hoping that Maya gets to come home. She finally got to talk to Maya on the phone. As she talked to Maya on the phone, the social worker sitting there. Not only is the social worker, Catherine Betty, sitting there, but they're screening this girl's calls. Again, she's asking the little girl how she feeling. Are you getting your medicine? They say in the background, redirect. Redirect. So she had to redirect her statement to her child. This mother had to redirect by saying, did you get your medicine? How are they treating you? Redirect. To where she would jump in, the social worker would jump in. This is the first call this woman got to her daughter. In almost 90 days. No hugs, no kisses, don't get to go see your baby. You don't get to smell that scent that she carries. Only for somebody to be, she was 10, skunky. Only for her to be directed on a phone call of how she can talk to her child. Remember, they can't ask this little girl how she doing, how she feeling, or nothing. How do you get on the phone and can't say none of that? It's unrealistic. So Cal and Jack went to her. She said, Betta said, go ahead and go to a party. Go to the party without me. I won't wrap gifts. Because she's still hoping she gets to see her baby for Christmas. So Jack and Cal come home. The door's closed in the room. Jack thinks, oh, Betta's sleeping. Let me let her rest. Betta's brother comes to the house. He said, hey, Jack, Cal, where's my sister? He said, oh, she's in the room sleeping. We're going to let her rest. Due to the stress. The brother walks around the house. He goes to the garage for whatever reason. Betta hung herself. Betta Kowalski. Betta wrote a letter to the judge, and in that letter, she let her family know, really, that she just couldn't deal. She let the judge know how he tore her family apart, and how hopefully what she done, that this story reaches thousands and millions, so things could be changed for the better. Maya never got to see her mother alive. Maya never got to see this mother alive. The little girl was so broken. She was so broken. Can you imagine being 10 years old and confined to a hospital bed for 90 days? No mother, no father, no brother, no nothing. They treated this mother so bad. Medical abuse. It occurs when a caregiver, whether through willful action or lack of appropriate action, causes harm or distress to the person under their care. The victims can be encountered in different healthcare settings and may be at risk of various health consequences. And I'm reading medical abuse because that's what they call this. Florida, at this hospital, Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. I'm ready to get to this doctor because the Kowalskis wasn't the only ones affected. I thought reading this story, I said, this can't be real. I'm watching this documentary, and when this little girl is in her mama's funeral and she's broke down like that, and that letter that mother wrote to that judge was so heartfelt. She talked to each of her kids. She told Maya, don't be angry at her. But she just couldn't stand seeing, she said she knew taking her own life was going to be the only way that little girl got to go home. And damn it, if that didn't what happened. Until that woman took her life. They even told Betta that calling the hospital, checking on her daughter and the medication and to see if she was getting the proper treatment was going to prolong that little girl going home every time she called. They even got Jack to talk to a social worker to turn him against his wife. And that he did. They asked that man, but he answered right. Will he be willing to give up his marriage for the sake of that little girl coming home? Disturbing, right? How's that helping the family and the child, asking the man if he's willing to leave his wife for the sake of the child to come home? When y'all treated her like a criminal, the little girl is still breaking out into bruises and still having the same pain without the mother and the father being around. She's confined in a hospital room for 90 days. Maya said that she heard the nurses talking about her like a dog at 10 years old. She remembers the nurses saying, that little B is making that up. Ain't nothing wrong with her. Even the social worker. Let's get to it. Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital is under fire after the harrowing documentary Take Care of Maya reveals staff called Child Services Hotline twice to falsely accuse Betta Kowalski of a Munchausen by proxy before she unalived herself. The court denied Betta access to her child. Social worker Catherine Betty. Catherine Betty's a social worker. Remember, y'all, stay with me. Catherine Betty's is a real-life social worker. Held a previous role managing foster care children for Suncoast. The Tampa Bay Times reports that Betty was arrested on child abuse charges after she was accused of holding a 10-year-old to the ground and covering his face with a towel in June 2007. It was said allegedly Betty grabbed the boy's head, causing him to fall down, and placed both knees on the boy's chest before he turned red and said he couldn't breathe. Now, this is the social worker, y'all, that is involved with these cases, with this hospital, with Dr. Sally Smith beside her. This is all going down in Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. Betty would escort Maya on afternoon walks on the hospital grounds. The social worker declined several of Betta's FaceTime calls that were allowed as part of the state's shelter order. So not only did they finally allow the mother phone calls, but the social worker denied them. She wouldn't allow the phone calls. So you got this child who the mother can't say, baby, I'm calling you, I'm reaching out to you, but I'm not allowed. She can't say nothing. So the little girl thinking she's all alone. She knows her mother and father and her brother love her, but she's still alone. Nobody but these nurses, doctors. Thank you, Shankrock, for the super sticker. Thank you. In January 2017, Betty and a nurse reportedly entered Maya's room and told her to undress so they could take photos of her body before a court proceeding. So as they're recording, this nurse Betty and the social worker Betty, they asked Betty, I'm ready to get to that, Skunky. That's why I said targeted by the system. They were definitely targeted by the system of Florida. Looking at state and see where medical abuse, I'm ready to get to this doctor in this hospital. Betty, they asked Betty in the hearing, because remember this, y'all, this happened in 2016. These people, this family is waiting a hearing September 11th, 2023. I am going to be following this story to the end. 2023? From 2016? This social worker has been charged with putting her knees in a boy's chest to where he turned red and said he could not breathe. But the same social worker, the mother, Betta, researched it. She was a researching parent. Let me tell you that before she took her life, this woman researched any and everybody that was around her child. Thank you, Shay, for the super sticker. Thank you. The super chat. Thank you. They asked Betty, they said, Catherine, what did you call the parents to ask the parents, could you take pictures of their child? No, I didn't think we should. Remember, just because your child is in state custody, they don't have that right. And then they made her strip naked. Maya refused. She said she don't want to take pictures naked. The little girl had the right mind. They didn't even call her attorney and asked the attorney, could they take pictures? They held this little girl down on her wheel. They forced her hands down and stripped her anyway. Maya refused to cooperate, and Betty began forcibly removing her pants and her shirt. Remember, this is the same social worker that put her knees in a little boy's chest and a towel around his face. A judge determined that there was evidence for punitive damages for the Koloskis' claims of battery and false imprisonment. Earlier this year, Suncoast and Smith settled their portion. I'm ready to get to this, Dr. Smith. Suncoast is the remember, they're working for Suncoast. This is the hospital in the social worker part. They settled a lawsuit for $2.5 million. And the case against All Children's Hospital and Betty will begin September 2023. So see, something's wrong. Anytime you ain't do nothing wrong and you just up and want to settle out for $2.5 million, I'm gonna tell you how deep it got. When the judges, when they finally, for people that's had child cases like this, social worker cases, it is attorneys out there that will talk to you. I know I was in that position and I just did the agreement. Anything to see my kids, anything to get help with the situation that they said I was in. Cause see, they got power over us because our judicial system says that whatever they say is right. I didn't know I had a voice then. A lot of these people, because of this, Better Koloski gave these people a voice and somebody to come in and say, hey, y'all got a voice. Y'all don't have to take those deals. But see, Better didn't give in like a lot of these other families. I'm going to get to these other families with Dr. Sally in this hospital. But a lot of people went ahead and took these deals with the social workers like, yeah, I'll take the case management, like myself. We don't have money for a lawyer. We think we poor. We didn't know there was somebody out there for us. See, that's what they don't tell us. So we can be a product of their environment. So they can tear us down. Put our kids in the system to get more money for other people. Dr. Sally Smith. After Maya H10 was rushed to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in 2016 for the ones coming in, the medical staff consulted Dr. Sally Smith, a doctor from Child Protective Services, following concerns about Maya's CRPS diagnosis and ketamine treatment. Smith then filed a report which accused Maya's mom, Better, of child abuse. Remember, Better took her child in there because she was crying about pain. They didn't know where the bruises was coming. Her feet turned in. How do you make your child's feet turn in? How is that abuse? When you got videos of your child walking normally and her feet turned in. But don't forget, Dr. Kilpatrick wrote Dr. Smith and said, yes, she has CRPS. Don't forget, Smith filed the report, accused Maya's mom of child abuse, citing Munchausen syndrome, saying that her mother put that in her head that she had something wrong with her. Again, a mental disorder in which a caregiver fakes or causes symptoms to make a child look sick. Due to Smith's allegations, Maya was placed in state custody and separated from her parents as an investigation into the allegation took place. Again, Better was later determined not to have an illness after they put those on her. But she died by suicide 87 days after her daughter had been taken. As we see later in this documentary, other families. Here we go with Dr. Sally Smith, targeted by the system. Other families beyond the Koloskis have been impacted by Smith's incorrect allegations of child abuse. In total, there have been at least 12 documented cases in which Smith identified abuse only for the children to be returned to the parents, charges dropped, or where the Department of Family and Children's Services reversed its separation order. Smith retired from her position last year. Despite, however, she is still listed as an independent practitioner with Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. So she retired from the hospital, but she went back. She went back working as independent because they sued, so she can't work there as a worker. She had to go do independent, but she's independent under them. Not to mention, remember I told y'all Dr. Sally Smith said Maya suffered anxiety. But why was Dr. Sally Smith charging under the hospital bill that Maya had CRPS? We are targeted by the system, but we're not paying attention. Even the medical system. Because remember, I just said the doctor said Maya didn't have CRPS, but was charging. So when you go in there and say you having headaches and heart pains and things like that, have y'all ever looked at y'all bill when the doctor say, well, we don't see nothing wrong. We done sent you to an MRI and some more stuff. We done sent you there. We done sent you, got your MRIs. We don't see nothing. But what did you charge me for on that bill? Have y'all ever checked y'all doctor bills to see? Thank you, Shane, for that super stick. I appreciate you. Have y'all ever noticed that? Y'all notice they always move hospitals. They will go to the next state and work like nothing happened. Exactly. And that's just what happened. In response to the 12 documented cases where her evaluations have been overturned, Smith said this was a pretty small percentage next to the estimated 3,000 cases she's tackled. She said, well, this is just a small percentage. I tackled 3,000 cases. 3,000 families have been affected. 3,000 families. We got faulty judges. Once y'all go see this and see how that judge turned that family down because the hospital lawyers, he said the hospital got the attorney for the family said the hospital when he got some bad attorneys. I don't know how good this is going to be. And when they got in there, the judge said, anybody got anything anybody want to say? They said, yeah, the Kowalski family's here. The hospital lawyer on the intercom said, I don't think, he said, it ain't going to be good. The judge said, yeah, you're right. Not at this time. We're just going to dismiss this. What? Who's for us? See, this is why us black people, we gotta get our kids into being lawyers, judges, doctors. All that talk about being people, police, all that stuff, we need our kids to be educated. Because it's a lot going on. She said 3,000 cases. That's 3,000 families. We wonder why these kids grow up and be illers and murderers and all of that. These kids are being passed around through the system with God knows who. Because we think we're doing something when we get people's kids taken away, but they going somewhere worse. All because somebody had bad judgment, or that's just what they do is take people's children. She said, my job is not to make mistakes. To my knowledge, I don't have any cases where I've made an incorrect conclusion. The judge they overturned 12 cases. She says she don't make mistakes. And I don't have any cases where I made an incorrect conclusion. What? When Maya went to that hospital, half for 90 days, you kept her from her mother and father. Did she still have the same pains without even having a conversation with her mother of what to say? Her legs were still turned thin. but y'all don't make mistakes. She then proceeds to say, we have children that come to us that have less serious injuries where a recommendation is made for the child to be removed for their safety. What? We have children that come for less serious injuries that we recommend. What? I mean, y'all tell me if we're not being targeted by the system. And I say we because God knows if anything happens to my grandbaby or anything, or one of y'all kids. The caseworker's name is Catherine Betty. Catherine Betty. I'm reading, looking at this documentary, y'all. I'm getting my hair done, but I'm crying. I was like, this ain't real. This ain't, and it's real. I'm looking at the people talk, it's real. But for the sake that kids that come to see us for less injuries where a recommendation is made for the child to be removed. What? And she said, and the next day the judge declines the request. Just because they determined they're not going to proceed with the criminal charges doesn't mean there wasn't child abuse or that I, quote or unquote, made a mistake. What? Don't forget, Dr. Sally still charged the little girl and was diagnosing her for CRPS. Why y'all think they got sued? See, better than take the case management. When the social workers was trying to turn Jack against her, she said, I'm not doing what they asked me to do. Because she knew them people are treating us like criminals. These people's making stuff up on us. They're lying on us like, you go to the doc. You went to the doctor with me where this doctor said our daughter had this. Now you telling me you letting these people get in your head? Where they asked this man, are you going to leave your wife if we allow this child to come home? He said yes. Which wasn't a bad answer, but at the same time, do you think your wife be doing this? He said, well, yeah. See, men, they get y'all in a crossfire too. See, that's what they do. They use those trick questions to hem us up. And we don't know any better at that point. Because we'll do anything for our kids to get home. That's what we're thinking about. Our kids, we can't imagine our kids going somewhere, getting touched on. You know what I'm saying? Being mistreated. You know, and when you know situations ain't that bad, but the woman just said kids come for much more or less, and we recommend the kids get more. Is this not a faulty system we living in and going by? Let me tell you another one of Dr. Sally's cases. This Marine Corps veteran, John Stewart, Marine Corps, a veteran. He ended up in jail for almost a year before charges were dropped after a neuropsychologist contradicted the Smith's findings. Her findings were that John Stewart unalived his girlfriend's baby by throwing him over against a soft surface. What? That man did a year of his life gone by this Dr. Sally Smith again, saying that this man unalived his girlfriend's baby, and it took a neuropsychologist to come in and find her wrong to where they dropped the charges. It ain't about them dropping the charges. This is a year of your life in jail, being targeted by this woman in the system. Let me read y'all some more. Remember I said we're Tara Brown. We're them. Let me get to this. This story was so touching. And see, it wasn't just about the color of our skin. It was about the future of everybody, everything, all together. I just read about John. Tara Brown, This mother, 39 years old, conceived twins via in vitro fertilization, as she could not conceive naturally with her physician husband. She was accused that she inflicted countless fractures on her 6-week-old babies. Remember, this woman paid for vitro fertilization. I cannot see anybody paying that kind of money to beat their children. Sally Smith told me if I didn't tell them what was wrong, then my children would be put in foster care, Brown said. She looked us straight in the eye and said, one of you is lying. One of you abused your children. These charges were proven false after another doctor diagnosed the twins with a rare bone disorder. George and Ashley Finnegan, 31 years and a mother of 3, with her fiance George, went through a terrible ordeal. Ashley said that after Dr. Smith's examination of her 9-year-old daughter, she was crying and shaking. In 2017, George, while angry, threw his cell phone onto the couple's bed, unaware that their baby was swaddled among the blankets. When the baby started to cry, the couple saw she was hurt and rushed her to the ER. Doctors found that the baby's Anissa's skull was dented above her left eye. The following day, Dr. Smith walked in, did not introduce herself, but said, "What is it going to be the story today?" Ashley was accused of lying. Dr. Smith at one stage started screaming 2 inches from Ashley's face. The next day, Finnegan and her fiance were arrested. Another case where people's arrested. According to the police report, Smith said Anissa's skull fractures could not have been caused by a cell phone. The Department of Children and Families, which petitioned to take custody of the kids, said their affidavits that Smith claimed the baby had 2 very high force impacts. 3 months down the line, charges were dropped against Ashley, and George were offered 25 days in jail. He had to plead no contest to child abuse. In a memo detailing their reasoning, prosecutors said doctors was unable to determine with a degree of medical certainty that the victim was struck more than one time. They also said Smith changed her mind about the plausibility that the cell phone could have caused the injuries. Ashley said she was thinking of suing, but she could not get a copy of Smith's medical records. "We were lucky," she said. What about the people that can't afford a lawyer? What if I didn't have that inner strength to fight? The system would have swallowed my children. Ashley Finnegan and her fiance George were accused of hitting their infant daughter so hard that they dented her skull. Child abuse pediatrician Dr. Sally Smith said she didn't believe that George accidentally hit her with the cell phone. Zachary, an engineer from Sarasota, spent almost $40,000 fighting charges that he broke his infant son femur. After a 10-minute investigation from Dr. Sally Smith. Thank you, Cape Cod Beacher. Thank you for that super sticker. Fighting charges. $40,000, y'all. These people have lost their homes. When y'all go watch this documentary, they lost their homes, jobs. Having a neglect charge on your case, you can't go work anywhere but a restaurant. Zachary, an engineer from Sarasota, spent almost $40,000 fighting charges that he broke his infant son femur. After a 10-minute investigation from Dr. Sally Smith, she took a couple of pictures, investigated the child's genitals, but changed Zachary and his family's house. "You got a second opinion for any major disease," says Zachary. "Any parent should be allowed to get a second and third medical opinion." Dr. Jill Glick, medical director of Child Protective Services at Chicago Medicine, said doctors who burst into exam rooms and accuse parents of abuse are practicing bad medicine. This was not said about Dr. Sally Smith specifically, but Dr. Glick has a whole different approach. She says she gets better results by introducing herself to parents gently, asking them if they're comfortable. Did they eat or sleep? She explains honestly why she is there before commencing of examination. Before Dr. Glick can make final findings, she consults from the neurosurgeon to the radiologist. We obsess over what we can say with any degree of certainty, she said. If there is a disagreement, we'll put it in the record that we had one doctor who disagreed, but 9 out of 10 who said this is child abuse. Glick said it is more crucial than ever for child abuse pediatricians to be honest with investigators about their limitations. In recent years, many physicians have softened on injuries once thought to be proof of abuse, like spiral femur fractures or multiple skull fractures. I'm intellectually honest that medically we might not be able to answer that question, Glick said. And the truth of the matter is, many times we can and many times we can't. There is 2 petitions going around that's showing Dr. Sally Smith tendency in history of accusing parents wrongfully of child abuse. This doctor is too hastily diagnosed child abuse, ripping apart families. The petition states, we ask that the Pinellas County Child Protective Services and her affiliated hospitals strongly considering terminating her contract due to her actions. We hope that Dr. Sally Smith will be investigated properly and that she will be fired for causing trauma and broken hearts, even losing a family member due to her actions. One more. Thank you, Shane. Thank you. I want to read one more story that just recently hit me into doing this. Dr. Sally Smith is wanted by people for over a dozen counts of medical kidnapping. This includes the recent kidnapping of children, Saisha Mercado. After a routine hospital visit during her pregnancy, Smith falsified reports of neglect, which led to the forced abduction of her 2-year-old Aman and the family's newborn daughter shortly after birth. The kidnapped children must be returned to families, and Smith must be terminated and criminally charged. They say your voice is needed. Take a moment to follow Saisha. I'm gonna share Saisha's Instagram on my community wall so we can further look into this. And we need a voice. We need voices. Because at any given time, our daughters, our sons, anybody that has kids, we can't go to the hospital with our child without being falsely accused. And don't think it was just blue people. It was melanated people as well. A lot of these cases where people have done time. Can you imagine going to penitentiary for a year and them to say, my bad, she was wrong? No. We are targeted by the system and nobody has a voice to step up and say this. It took this young lady to lose her mother at the age of 10 years old, being confined in a hospital room for 90 days. Her mother being accused of making her say these things, making bruises popped up that still continuously popped up after being separated from her mother for 90 days. This little girl was tore up. The funeral was so sad. The father didn't realize it until after his wife passed that, the system was targeting them. She was right. See, we have to start listening to one another. We are so quick to go against each other when our backs are against the wall. The story on Netflix is called Take Care of Maya. You honestly got to have some tissue when you watch it. I've never watched the documentary. They said it's the #1 documentary out right now. I never seen a documentary so touching, but so interesting. Because not only was it targeted by the system, the medical system. Y'all said she didn't have this. And so many of us went to the emergency room and said something. Y'all tell us all the time that y'all don't find nothing, but are we getting charged for that? For people that don't have medical cards and medical assistance, are you checking to see when you went in there for a heart problem and that doctor told you you didn't have that? Is that what they charged you for? See, we don't check on things like that. We just pay that medical bill of people with a medical card. Just, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to the government taking care of that. So you don't pay attention to that when you leave that emergency room. But check into that, because that's malpractice. We are targeted by the system. Again, I pray for all these families. Today, I was better. Today, I was Maya Kowalski. Today, I was Jack, her father, and Cal. Today, I was John, Stewart, and Tara Brown, George, Ashley, and Zach. It's so many other stories. But I want y'all to go see for yourself. Anytime anybody does any kind of time, I mean, these people lost their homes. It was so sad. And for Catherine, Betty, to be accused of abuse, but she's a social worker. How is this working? Somebody tell me, how is this working? Yeah, Vibrant, I'm keeping up with that. Yes, the trial starts September 11th of 2023. Vibrant, I'm definitely, I hope it gets televised, because I'm going to be on it, but I'm pretty sure that somebody, because I did see other YouTubers talking about it on the other side of the realm. So I know that somebody is going to keep up with this as well as I am, and I'm going to keep y'all updated with this story. This happened in 2016, y'all. These people didn't even get a first shake until this year. 7 years? Thank you, he got us a love. 7 years? So come on, y'all. What are we doing? What are we talking about? We ain't got a fighting chance in the system. And these are blue people. We always say they are. If this happened to them, my God. Yeah, 7 years, Nina. 7 years. But just think about 10-year-old Maya laying in that hospital bed for 90 days. Seeing her father once. They let the father go one time. And on that visit, he had to stay silent. So that's why I say, put your feet in, take your shoes off, and put your feet in that family's shoes. Where you wanna be the best mother you can be, and you can't even talk to your child because they say you was medically abusing your child when you got documentation from the doctor saying, no, I was writing this prescription for her. No, I was doing that for her. No, I did that for her. They didn't write that. Come on, y'all. They couldn't go get ketamine at a pharmacy. The doctor said, I prescribed that. The doctor clearly told the other doctor, Sally Smith, you're disgusting. And you are in the medical field. That's why we gotta know who's touching us, who. Just because somebody got a license a license doesn't make them good. Doesn't make them a good practitioner. Doesn't make that dentist a good dentist. How many times have we seen where the people got put to sleep in the dentist's office and wake up pregnant, touched? This is a lot to think about today. This is a lot of stuff to go and check up on. Do your own homework. Go look at this documentary. And leave a comment under this video and tell me how sad and sick it was. September 11th, 2023, I will be doing an update and another live on being targeted by the system. Take Care of Maya story. Again, thanks for all the new members. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. It takes a lot to get 1,000 subs, let alone I still can't even get commercials because I need 900 something more watch hours. I put in so much work into these lives. I do my research. I don't come on here unless I do my research. In the times I've been woman enough to say, hey, I really didn't look into this. I shouldn't even have came live for real about this topic because I didn't do what I'm supposed to do. I didn't give a lot of lives my all. But I promise to bring much more and a much better me. And together being supportive of each other, we won't be targeted because we can teach and learn off of one another. This is a teachable moment, not just for y'all, but for me too. Because I didn't know this happens. I was a mother who had social workers in my life. I didn't know we had a voice. So again, you guys go watch Take Care of Myra. And after you watch that whole live, watch that whole documentary. Watch those families, not just Maya. But watch those families. What about Maya's brother, Cal, who got to see his mother unalived hanging in the garage? A mother's love is powerful. And that's, again, we don't know what nobody's going through in life. But if you just take a little time to research, you can find out a whole lot. A whole lot. Again, you guys, and I didn't cry this time, you guys. Y'all know when I touch on this, I cried. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Broadway, thank you for getting a super sticker. Thank you, Broadway, and congratulations on your monetization and your channel. You are doing big things over there. I'm so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? It's long overdue for you, but I am proud of where you are today. Looney Melodies also has a channel, you guys. Make sure you go follow Looney Melodies. The Goddess of Love has a great podcast going on over there. Don't forget to follow the Tierra Latrice Show, Skunky's Farm, Blended Healing, Shake Rock, Transparent Talk, and all these other great content creators that I dropped in the chat. Please make sure you go follow all these great content creators. And everybody have a blessed weekend. I'll be probably coming live next week. Don't get me lying to y'all about anything. I've been taking a break because mentally I've just been trying to get myself together because I fell off. I was all over the place. I was on my lives cussing and some other stuff when I'm trying to change that. And, you know, if I say I got to change, I got to change. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come on here, like I said again, lying to you guys about anything. I'm really trying to be a better me and stuff like that. And then I think I'm going to take my imperfect families over to Shake Rock's live for Monday. I was going to do it on mine, but I think I want to do it over there for subscribers night so the Rock Squad can get to know me in a different light. And I get to tell my story to people over there or whatever. So please go follow Shake Rock as well. And check me out on Monday on subscribers night, you guys. And again, everybody have a blessed weekend. Thank you guys so much. Skunky said, you're doing an excellent job in my opinion because I didn't know any of this had taken place. Yeah. I'm going to put it in the chat real quick. It's the name of the documentary. And it's the #1 right now. So Take Care of Maya. And it's super sad, you know what I'm saying? But if you have older children with children, you know, let them know, you know what I'm saying? Let them know, let them sit in on this documentary. Tell everybody about this documentary. It's a must watch. It's a must watch. Thank you, Looney Tunes. I appreciate you guys again. Everybody, y'all go have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And thank you guys again. And don't forget, join that membership. Get a super sticker, super chat, just anything. It's $1.99. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But I got 3 tiers, but I'm just trying over here. But it helps grow the channel. So please be supportive. You know what I'm saying? And you can also hit that Cash App, Cancer Me Happy. All donations are welcome. And again, thanks everybody. Have a great day.